Well, it's relegations time now in the Smite Console League. We're going to start things off with North America. And the first thing to update you on as well is we should have had 4 teams in competition today. However, Evolve, one of those teams that got through the Challenger Series to get to this stage, were not able to field a roster. So because of that, Tolly, we're only going to have 3 teams in competition here.
Well, first match is going to be Kingdom against Los Amigos. Back-to-back match with them against Noble, followed after Los Amigos.
And so these 3 teams, obviously, it's the top 2 will go through here to enter the SCL to join the other NA SCL teams as well. We'll see how this one works out for them. Because 2 spots up for grabs means you've got pretty much a good chance of getting through.
Yeah, and looking at Los Amigos coming back from the Challenger Cup finals, they showed a lot of dominating plays all throughout. They completely devastated their oppositions.
And now Noble and Kingdom, obviously we saw them last split in the SCL. We'll see if they can actually get themselves back into it or whether Los Amigos is going to be party poopers today.
Well, we're going to see it. It's going to be Niqued and Despair coming out of Kingdom, but the rest of the roster seems a little bit different, with Jumpahhh being in the jungler, Truancii in middle, and then Rippin holes in the new support role.
We got some hot names today. I've got to say, we've got some great names. I got to call someone the Doctor for the whole day. The Doctor's in the house. We'll see how it goes. Los Amigos will be first pick, first ban. This time round, Kingdom Esports with the counter ban option available for them.
And we're going to see if these are going to be targeted bans or if they're going to be your typical Nemesis, Ao Kuang, Arlong Shen, Fafnir, Baka style.
Well, we see the Guan straight away. I do expect a Fafnir ban to come through here as well. In the jungle, Nemesis still very strong even on console as well. Obviously just shredding those protections over and over again.
And such a short cooldown on the ultimate. You're going to be able to dive the backline very efficiently at every stage of the game, especially when you have such a global presence, maybe Rama, for example, or Yanis even.
Well, Rama on the console scene, we see it now and again, a little bit more difficult to land those ultimate snipes that we see so often on the PC. I mean, overall, the game is very similar on console to PC. The only real difference is console, I'd actually say, is a little bit more tricky for turning circles and landing some of the harder abilities.
Which is why you see a different meta develop between the SPL and the SCL. A lot of these teams prefer different styles going into. They prefer a lot more team-oriented compositions where you're going for more crowd control than the individual mechanics.
That's very true indeed. Susano banned out by Kingdom Esports, so double jungle focus there. Over to Los Amigos, and Fafnir gets through surprisingly, so it's instant locked by Los Amigos. That should go over to the support player Kenshin this game.
And Fafnir is one of those guardians that have just been so flexible in terms of being in team fights and then making plays in the early game of the duel lane as well, between his leap being such a quick ability and as well as his stun, just providing so much control. I
mean, technically 3 CCs in terms of his kit, in terms of hard CC with stuns available to him, as well as the ultimate to take him out of dangerous situations. But Kingdom, they're going to focus on other roles. Jungler locked in for Thor there. We're going to also see Ravana for the solo lane.
Thor, one of those gods that you really like to see, though we don't really see it very often in the SCL or the SPL recently, with a lot of new changes with Susanoo, Arlong Shen specifically. Now, this kind of global pressure is going to be very difficult for Los Amigos, especially with this Soul pick.
Why with the Soul pick more than anything, Tolly?
Well, early game Soul, you don't really want to fight as often as you want, like would prefer, rather. Yeah. You want to be able to farm, get to the mid to late game stages, get those magical damage items, you know, stack the Doomer potentially, maybe even go for a Book of Thoth and be a glass cannon. But Thor can rain on your parade.
Well, with Sol and Raijin locked in, very magical heavy on the side of Los Amigos already, and going into the counterban stage, Kingdom could look to exploit that by just banning out some physicals that could be frontline or damage dealers as well.
And it's going to be another global on the side of Kingdom with this Athena. I'm already loving their synergy. Now, it's going to be very easy for them to plug in any mid laner that they really want with this Athena-Thor combination. Athena will dash taunt, Thor will follow up with a stun hammer. The damage is there.
And that's the thing now, Los Amigos may look towards the mid laner, banning that out against Kingdom here, knowing that they might want to take 1 or 2 easy options here to follow up the Thor Athena.
It's going to be the Kronos ban. There's no Hunter or mid laner for Kingdom, so that's a good flex ban on the side of Los Amigos.
Surprising to see Erlang Shen get through the first 6 picks and the first 4 bans before it gets taken out in the counterban phase as well. Freya banned out as well, so Amigos really worried about having a hyper carry Hunter in terms of a mage here in Kronos and Freya.
Especially with the Golden Bow being removed from Smite now in general, you see more addition of Soul, Kronos, and Freya, so I like the mindset from Los Amigos, but I would still say that with Thor and Athena, there's going to be just a lot of pressure in that duel lane.
That's true. I'm actually expecting Kingdom Esports here as well to look at picking Neath as their final pick here, just for the simple reason, against Sol, it's a pretty good matchup for sustain and very safe in that lane against the Soul. On top of that, the World Weaver combining with Athena Thor, fantastic presence.
Why not? Just put more pressure onto the solo lane potentially, exploit the speed buff and the blue buff, get your Thor rolling, especially against Ratatoskr. If Rat falls behind early on, it's really difficult to be the same use.
That's true. Ratatoskr, though, having a pretty good time for himself as of late, as Osiris locked in as well to go up against Kingdom Esports Ravana in the solo lane there. And Kingdom Esports, with their final pick here, needs to be a Hunter, especially with all the mages really banned out that can go into that role.
I mean, it could also be Vulcan in the dual lane, but it's not Snoopy, so more than likely it's going to stick in the mid lane. Athena is a great setup for the Vulcan meatballs.
Ooh.
It's a very spicy Habwa pick for Kingdom.
You mentioned the Vulcan there. I'm pretty sure it's Vulcan AD carry them. I mean, it has to be with a Hebo. You're going to put Hebo in that?
Yeah, you don't really want to put Hebo into the dual lane in this spot against a Soul Fafnir. Fafnir is going to be really in your face. Habwa has to be relatively close to the lane to clear, unless Kingdom really wants to poke out this Fafnir constantly, and that could be their game plan.
I don't like it.
It's just there. It actually is going to be Habwa in the dual lane.
I don't like it. I think it's really weird.
I think that they're going to focus on this Fafnir. It's going to be very difficult for Fafnir to really clear the wave efficiently. Look for those aggressive dashes.
I say I don't like it for the simple reason of the fact that we mentioned Niqued there, and Niqued was a really obvious choice for them potentially to go there. Against the Soul, great matchup overall. Niqued can just farm it out against on the early stages, have that global presence, which they're looking for with this comp, but instead, going for a Hebo.
Maybe Despair is not comfortable landing those Spirit Arrows, so wanting to go for Habwa, which has a little bit more of a wide cone with his first and third ability anyway. Also pretty good poke from a distance using that Water Sprout, which could set up more follow-up damage. You have the double knockups on the side of Kingdom, so that is a really good crowd control to exploit.
Well, let's go through the two teams on paper here, because just in case you don't recognize them. Kingdom Esports here, we're going to see Niqued in the solo lane playing the Raven. In the jungle, we're going to see Jumpahhh playing Thor. We've got mid lane Truancii, I guess that's how we're going to say it.
I think it's Truancii.
We'll just Truancii, that makes more sense. I was trying to be more polite. Truancii in the mid lane is Vulcan. Rippin holes playing Athena in the support role, and Despair on Hebo AD carry. Across the way, though, for the side of Los Amigos, starting on the bottom side of your map, we're going to see Dr. Little Cave on the Osiris. LayersOfDeath in the jungle. That's the best name I see here today, by the way. LayersOfDeath on Ratatoskr. Michael Checo in the mid lane. Michael clearly didn't know that when you put in your details of your name, you want to make your gamer tag, not your actual name. Then you've got Kenshin on the Fafnir. Finally rounding that up as well, we're going to have Cameron, who didn't have the A on his keyboard, or the O, I should say, on his keyboard, so we put an X there instead on
Sometimes, you know, you got to have some X's, Y's, and Z's in your gamer tag, but I really like the Michael Checo. You know, sometimes you got to put your real name inside your alias.
It would be even better if it's not his real name, just like Jeff Hindler.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good example.
That
like
could
Jeff
be
Hindler, he's that not his real name, but everybody knows him as Jeff Hindler now, and he responds to it. Is his best friend's name.
Has the actual Jeff Hindler ever showed up to a Smite event with Jeff Hindler?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever been introduced to the real Jeff Hindler. Because, honestly, Jeff Hindler is the real Jeff Hindler.
Well, the real Jeff Hindler, please stand up.
We'll find out. We'll see if it comes to Worlds, if they can get that far. Anyway, Los Amigos earlier. Let's talk about lane matchups now. We've got Sol on the Fafnir in the duo lane up against Hebo Athena. Now, normally, we like to discuss matchups here, Tony, go, who wins this one? I have no clue.
I think that it's going to be dependent, like I mentioned, on the Fafnir that's going to play aggressive. Doing a great job trying to body block this Athena from dashing into the wave. Now, the whole plan behind Kingdom's duo lane is finding the taunt into the knockup right there, finding more poke, potentially with a Water Sprout.
Because it's very hard to disapparate away from that too, because knockup stops you from being able to cast abilities. One of the best, strongest CCs in the game as well. So we'll just see how that lane plays out. Mid lane though, we've got Vulcan Thor up against Raijin and the Rat as well. Overall, pretty even, I'd say, in terms of clear.
But it's going to be very difficult because this Thor Vulcan has the same kind of synergy that this Athena Habwa does. The stun into the knockup, providing more additional damage. It's going to be very difficult for the side of Los Amigos to really find, they have to get an early purification before that knockup.
And finally to the solo lane we go, and it's Raven versus Osiris. Well, it's just a man fight overall, both melee focus in terms of poke and damage dealing, but Osiris is starting to win this one out so far against Niqued.
He has a better sustain early on before the Raven gets more abilities and more levels rather into his third ability for the sustain, because the Osiris will splash minions on his third and fourth auto attack chain.
That's true, so he's giving him a bit of extra clear then. Just continue to poke out Niqued there and keep him busy Truancii at the back, and the moment he comes in, you see the tether come down.
And this is what you want to do as Osiris. Get the wave completely grouped up, so on your 3rd and 4th hit, you're going to be hitting the whole wave with just your in-hands, proccing the death toll 6 times.
Good little work coming out from them as well. Item-wise, let's just see how these two teams are doing overall here. And we can see the starting stuff coming through here. Sprint and Shell on the line for the 2 support players this time round. And nothing else really to talk about in terms of craziness. No shenanigans, even though I still say no shenanigans with a Hebo AD carry.
But I like the idea, though, that Kingdom has, because their late game is so scary. A Habwa and a Vulcan. You have the Athena and the Thor. Thor doesn't even have to go damage build, honestly. Just build completely tanky, setting up your Vulcan and your Habwa to do all the damage for you.
And the one thing about Osiris as well as this game goes on, I mean, Osiris is great at getting to the backline, but the biggest issue Osiris ever suffers with is knockups. Things that can peel him away. Knockups is the best thing to do. And when you've got a Vulcan and a Hebo on the team, that's great for it. Not only that, they're magical, and mainly Osiris' passive is all focused on physical protection.
You're going to have to build around the magical defense, which will allow the Thor and the Ravana to still get off a decent amount of damage onto this Osiris. That's usually been a nice strategy when you overload the solo laner with one type of defense and then you just destroy him on the other element.
Now this is a group here as well with these 3 teams. They will all play each other twice in a best of 2. Obviously you split, you'll get a point each. If you win, you get 3 points. You lose both, you're getting 0 points. So it's very important to get off to a good start here in the group stage.
And the magic number is 5?
5's a little bit different. That's when you got 4
that's when there's
teams.
4 teams,
So
that's right.
With 3, it's a little bit of a different scenario. It's likely we may see, not likely, but
4 is the magic number? 1 win, 1 split?
It should be good. It should be good. I think it is, actually. Thor under aggression here, though, and the wall misses. That's first blood. Goes the way of Kenshin as well. Very good rotation from the Fafnir there, and combined nicely with Los Amigos, getting off to a very nice start.
Given the first blood to the Guardian, however, it's going to be a little, not what you really want to do, but it is a Fafnir, so he's going to get the gold. That's going to synergize with his passive just for more protections.
That's true. I mean, the first blood just worth a little bit more than every other kill in the game as well, just get you off to a nice little start. On the right-hand side there, you saw Doctor going into the jungle now to take the Fire Elementals, as the rest of his team on the left. They're looking for the left-hand Harpies or potentially the Gold Fury.
This Athena still hasn't backed yet, and it's going to be very problematic. Dr. L trading with Niqued, but there's an action of the Gold Fury. We're going to see the Dragon form getting off the Coerce onto all 4 members.
They have no clue. I tell you that, but Thor was the first one down with the ultimate. Rats in the sky too, but that one actually stopped Amigos from doing the Gold Fury. So good little play from Thor there.
That's 1 ultimate traded for 2. Los Amigos now has to be a little bit careful without that Dragon form and without the Ratatoskr ultimate. This could be something that Kingdom can force a team fight around gold now.
Really surprised to see Niqued on the right-hand side on Ravana here. Already starting to proxy farm waves on this right-hand side. Very confident in doing that. That's not an easy ability to do.
Not at all. He is level 9. He bullied out the Osiris earlier on. He managed to push out the wave back perfectly in time. His teleport is not available, but it doesn't matter because if the proxy allows him plenty of time to even squeeze in those back right Harpies if he chooses to do so.
Good little abuse. He could even look at trying to siege up with the Gold Fury with his team here as well because of that. We'll see where he ends up. At the moment, he's just doing his back Harpies, as Thor's doing the other side as well, but just ward wars around the Gold Fury again.
Still a really slow game despite the first blood happening about 2 minutes ago. 6 minutes in, only 1 kill for Los Amigos. 3 wards placed, though, for the Fafnir. Doing a great job around this Gold Fury.
Well, Hebo knows he's got Thor and Vulcan on his side of the map at the moment with the presence in mid lane, so got a little bit more aggressive here, but a lot of respect being shown by Sol at the same time, with Cameron just backing up.
I like the patience also by Despair, not committing with the ultimate. He forced the Despair anyway, and he also, the Disapparate, and he forced the Soul to back. So now he's going to be able to push out this wave, and this could be a rotation on gold, with Soul having to go back to the left lane to catch up on the wave.
Yeah, keep an eye on that, because the teleports are available for the solo laners here as well. Habois, this game as well, obviously playing the AD carry role by Despair. Going to be interesting to see how he just chooses to build out this AD carry Habois. I'm expecting pretty much the standard mage build. We see Bancrafts more than likely.
Well, he is going for the Sash build, more than likely Warlock Sash, trying to get the health online in case that the Ratatoskr and Osiris will dive him. Unless he wants to go for a more utility style with a Gem of Isolation, which is also good, having more slows. You already have the carpet for the slows, you add the Gem of Isolation. It's going to be that much more difficult for those Osiris and Ratatoskr to stick on you.
This is a pretty good start from Amigos, though. I mean, they've developed a 1,000 gold lead so far in this game. Experience-wise, it's actually in their favor as well by a decent chunk, considering how this game's gone so far. And it's not been a lot of kills, really. It's just been out farming.
I'm not really worried for Kingdom Esports, though, because of their 2 mage hyper carries in the late game. This kind of a lead is nothing to be worried about if I'm Kingdom.
And this is one thing we started to see this season. People using the Vulcan turret as an extra ward at the Gold Fury. Just keep an eye on people's rotations going around, because once you get a few more levels on Vulcan, the turret you don't need as much to really clear the wave in mid. You can just use it as an additional ward.
There's just a mobile tower for you. Dr. L taking a lot of poke away from Niqued, hitting level 11, but Niqued is very fine with trading this poke. Nice overhead kick preventing the stun.
Oh, but there's a rotation from TheJumpahhh here, and I'm not sure if Doctor realizes that there was a ward in the jungle. I'm not sure if he stepped on it. He went on the exit, though.
Well, Rat's in the sky, lays down, but he misses Niqued, and now it's going to be a rotation from the Athena as well. Not really wanting to commit. They were afraid that there was going to be more members. Thor, little off the mark onto Michael Checo as well.
Both teams really feeling each other out. A little bit off the mark with both ultimates there. We also saw the Athena very defensive very quickly. That could open things up on the left-hand side here with all these things going on, but at the moment it's just the Hunters on that side. I call them Hunters, but it's just mages.
It is just mages, and I think like both of these teams have a little bit of nerves going into this game. They're trying to force the issue. A nice double taunt.
Gonna get Purification and Thunder Crash out of Raijin there. Meanwhile, Fafnir not too scared of just standing in there. Didn't look to leap away at all. Aggression subsides for a minute, but it was a nice little sign of life coming out from ripping holes on the Athena.
And this is a scary 3-on-3 for Kingdom between the Athena, Thor, Vulcan. This knockup is going to set up so much damage. The Thor, whether or not he's maxing out Berserker Barrage or the Hammer, doesn't matter, because both of those abilities will just chunk anyone away from Los Amigos.
Well, Atomization coming through a little bit more. Raijin go for the Bancroft's Talon here. Sol as well, and the dual lane going for the standard sort of Sol build we see, especially getting a bit more physical protection online. But Kingdom Esports at the moment starting to group up at this Gold Fury for a second. It's just mainly to clear wards and see if they get a reaction out of Amigos.
They want to find the dash taunt onto this Raijin. The Purification is down. If they catch him with a taunt, there's no way for him to go.
They taunt onto Fafnir there, and Fafnir will be able to leap. Sorry, I say that, but at the same time, Rat round the back distracted him for a second. They still pick up the kill onto Kenshin. Thunder Crash is used there to get away, and he will survive with 1 health pretty much. And then back to the Gold Fury they go.
So making the rotation, Stellar Burst connects onto Truancii, but it doesn't really matter. Nice taunt onto Cameron, but
round the back. Osiris is here though, in amongst 4, going to get the tether on 2. Thor's going to take to the sky. Rat is also up, looking to come down. Goes on Athena. Meanwhile, Cameron picks up Truancii, and then Cameron gets Niqued as well. Double kill for the Hunter Sol.
Jumpahhh forced to hammer away, and now Los Amigos are going to force the issue around Gold here. Raijin is coming back, not off of death, but off of being forced out of the team fight. It's going to be easy gold.
Funny start that one. Kingdom Esports got off nicely there with a little pick around the Gold Fury, but just bit off too much more than they can chew. And because of that, Amigos, they escalate their lead further.
They committed just a little bit too hard. The Ratatoskr had a perfect cleanup rotation from the backhand side. Not really much that Kingdom Esports could do because of all the poke as well from Cameron. He was doing a great job with the Stellar Burst. His Supernova just completely decimated Kingdom.
A lot of that was down to Doctor and obviously Cameron there combining so well. With Doctor going to the back line and separating, making them all run away, just allowed Sol to get as much damage off as she wanted, just poking them all out.
That's what you want to do between your front line and back line. Have the front line be a tank, absorb all the incoming damage, and just let your hyper late game carry mage do all the damage that they need to do.
You said about hyper late game carry mage as well. Both those in the dual lane position here. Off to a good start with killed so far to the name. Gold lead exactly in Cameron's favor though on that Sol at the moment, which shows his build is coming along a little bit quicker.
Just a 10-minute Gold Fury, so favoring the Sol in this spot, but it's not going to be too much as the game progresses, as long as Kingdom still look for these little 3v3 skirmishes with this Athena dash taunt.
Need to see Rippin holes go a little bit more aggressive now, looking for some taunts, I think, on the 3 mid lane, especially after a relic or 2 being burnt earlier on, showed that it could work.
And they were going to go for the Raijin around the corner. Unfortunately, they caught out the Fafnir, but the Fafnir was barely able to jump away. I think they still got the kill on him, but they overcommitted a little too hard. Habwa was forced to use the ultimate, trying to catch up, was caught in a really awkward spot, taking a lot of damage from Raijin in return.
Yeah, the more I watch this game, the more it just seems we're going to see focus on Gold Furies and Fire Giant fights more than anything else. But that's a time mid, catches the Rat in awkward position, and that was a very good clean kill.
Raijin, I'm sorry, the Ratatoskr doesn't have Purification, so great recognition. Yeah. Kingdom Esports, yet again, utilizing that Athena taunt very perfectly.
And it was very well executed by Kingdom too, just to make sure Truancii actually followed up immediately with the Vulcan. It wasn't long range or anything, but it still did a ton of damage.
He knows that the duration of the taunt is very high, especially with the Athena maximizing it first. As we see here, that's what you have to do as a Guardian, just maximize your taunt, because you're setting up your Vulcan and your Thor for all their cooldowns.
It's always funny to see what Athenas do, because some will go for the damage option here by going for the shield wall and get the extra burst off, but that just slow down how long the taunt's going to last, and that can bait you into an awkward spot.
That's more of a soul lane build, maxing out the shield wall, trying to clear the wave as quickly as possible. More of a Guardian is this exact way that Rippin holds his building, and I like the mentality. Also, not even prioritizing prioritizing leveling up the ultimate, just having the shield wall, which will secure your gold fury or buffs quicker anyway.
Well, 12 minutes into the game now, I'm just keeping an eye on levels here, just to see how the pace is going between these two teams. Pretty good so far. We've got a lot of relics starting to come online now in terms of jungle and solo laners. The hunters, or at least the duo laners here, both have their relics online, showing that those kills have really made an impact.
Both solo laners have a lot of physical defense. Oh, we see LayersOfDeath trying to find the gank. Gonna land, gonna knock up Niqued. The Athena ult gonna damage mitigate a lot, though.
Got to be very careful there, because obviously with the Athena ult coming down and Osiris having his available, they could turn it. Taunt, though, is going to get purified immediately, and then both teams are disengaged. There is Raijin coming around too, and that's why Kingdom gave up the chase.
Kingdom Esports with the lead because of the fact that Rat used the purification. Yet again, this is going to be a strategy. Kingdom will group up and look for it. Athena still hovering around the solo lane. Thor and Vulcan possibly making a rotation here.
It's a little bit risky because he a 4v4 fight on the solo side, because both teams are very low here overall. The hammer off the mark there from Kenshin, but the good stuff comes out from the Rat to slow him down again, and in trouble is Osiris there, and that ultimate from Vulcan did connect, but unfortunately Draconic Rage came into play. However, Thor is here, and the extra damage he's going to get from multiple targets will secure him one in response.
Trading 1-for-1 solo for the jungler now. Kingdom still aggressive in the solo lane. They have the tools necessary. The dash taunt comes out, 2 targets, double tap connecting, so much damage.
Forcing out as well, the Fafnir back to the tower edge as well. They get some kills from it, but at the moment they could look for the jungle here. They should be looking at the speed and blue to invade, try and get something else out of it.
But in the dual lane, Despair looking for pokes. Soul's forced to use to separate away, trading the speed buff now. Kingdom going to grab that. Gold Fury is going to respawn momentarily, probably in about a minute to a minute and a half. Could have invaded speed and blue like you mentioned earlier on, but elected to play very safe.
I mean, especially when they know their own speed and blue is up, you expect the enemy ones to be up as well, but a little bit worried about that one. So that fight in the right-hand side, yeah, it was fun to watch and interesting, but nothing really came from it.
Nothing at all. Like we mentioned, the speed and blue was left uncontested from Kingdom. They just grabbed their own, and as a result, they're just waiting for the Gold Fury to respawn. They do have really good vision. One of their wards just fizzled away at the top left mid-Harpy, so they're going to have to replace that as long as they want to deny the vision from Los Amigos.
Well, Doctor here didn't actually die in that engagement, which is good for the Osiris. Now level 15 as well. Highest level matching the 2 duo laners there on that left-hand side. And you can see he's worked on the breastplate of Valor already, going for his Spirit's Robe as well.
Very smart pickup on the Spirit's Robe, because he can't get away from the taunt knock-up combination from Kingdom. And mitigating that damage is what you have to do as a solo laner in any way, shape, or form, especially going Bulwark of Hope probably immediately after.
Yeah, both those solo laners as well picked up Meditate, so it's a little bit more sustained for each of their teams there. Support's got exactly the same build as well in terms of relics here, with both going for the Shell and Sprint. I feel they're both very vital this game.
Except for the fact that Fafnir went Sprint first, whereas the Athena picked up Shell first, electing to go for more defensive style with the Shell, as opposed to Fafnir wanting to commit really aggressively.
Really aggressively. He actually did a very good ultimate early on to avoid that Vulcan damage that came in mid lane. Player damage though, so obviously the solo laners, but Hebo's starting to creep up there. Despair doing a good job of poking out Sol. Sol though has a little bit of sustain in the kit, which is allowing it to weather the storm there.
And that's going to be increasing tremendously as the game progresses. And not just Hebo, as well as this Vulcan and the Raijin. Only 2,000 on this Raijin, but as long as he gets the setup that he really needs from this Fafnir, then that's when his damage is going to truly shine.
But it looks like Kingdom setting up for the Gold Fury again. Last time around they got a pick, but then they lost the Gold Fury in the fight that ensued because of it. And so this time around they're just going to ward up around. Both solo laners now making the rotation as well. They're trying to keep the Doctor at bay.
And looking at the team comp from Los Amigos, they don't really have that much control, like crowd control set up for this Raijin now that I think about it. The Fafnir has a stun, but it's a little difficult to land, as well as the Ratatoskr stun having to overextend just to find the stun. And Raijin having to rely on those two abilities is not something you really want to do.
That's a good point. I mean, you're relying a lot on the engagement from their team, and it's all about that hammer, which did connect there onto the Ravana in the mid lane. So a bit of poke out. However, Vulcan answered it back in spades onto the Osiris.
Raijin unfortunately wasn't there to follow up off of the hammers, so not taking as much poke as Niqued could have potentially had. It's going to be a 4-man grouping from Los Amigos defending their tier 1 mid tower. Around the left-hand side, looping is Despair, was trying to counter ward, and now this could be a Gold Fury being forced by Kingdom.
Well, Kingdom Esports, they were in the SCL last split as well, so they've got a lot of experience to their name playing against the top teams like Saw, like Most Wanted. They should have a lot going into this. Amigos, well, they're trying to find their feet here, trying to get their way into the SPL for the first season. Taunting mid lane though does connect. A lot of damage with that backfire coming off as well from Truancii, but it's not going to be enough to kill Raijin. Just Thunder Crash back to the tower.
Mission accomplished. Forced the purification yet again. The simple goal constantly from Kingdom Esports. Now they can exploit that later on. They're going to probably force the Gold Fury, have Athena dashed on yet again, unless they want to loop around the Soul.
Well, they're waiting in the corner here, just hoping somebody comes around. Sol does recognize it, so plays it very safe. And Amigos, they're very tentative about how far they go here into the jungle. There is a ward, though, they've got down at the Gold Fury, so they know exactly what Kingdom's game plan was there.
Very great wards coming out of both teams, I would say, but better so on Kingdom. They have the bottom left mid-harpy control, so they can control that left side mid-harpy, both top and bottom side, go north or south anytime they want to in mid lane.
Well, Niqued needs to be a little bit careful on this right-hand side. He was looking at the speed buff here, but Amigos know it's up, and he's going to get forced out a little bit. He wants to still contest because he's got his team in backup. They do have globals available, looking for the steal, but the stun combo, very good so far. Speed buff goes down, Vulcan over the top, but it only hits onto the Doctor, and the Doctor weathers the storm.
Niqued going to get chased down and stunned down by Dr. L. Not much combination. The Ratatoskr landing down, forcing the Ravana to ultimate away, as well as Raijin.
Oh, and there's a very good backfire coming out from Vulcan, hitting 4 targets there. But both teams backing up as Thor goes in again. There's Hebo round the back with a great ultimate. Still, nobody is dead on either team, however.
The Soul has made the rotation, still having her ultimate. The Sanctuary was forced from Michael Checo out of the fight completely. Kingdom, they really need to use this Hebo carpet just to find some kills and force a Gold Fury.
They won't get anybody out of this, unfortunately. I mean, both teams will survive. I don't know how Michael really survived in the mid lane, but now Osiris teleports back in to defend this tier 1 tower. Going to get toy onto both of them. The Dragon leaps away, and Osiris lives to fight for now, but a minion wave coming in.
Not much health on the side of Los Amigos, and still great control from Kingdom. Nice knock-up. LayersOfDeath very low, but Despair is alone.
And this is the issue you have. He got some great damage off, but he was without his team there, looking for the burst, and that actually cost him his life, which now gives a small power play to Amigos, because they can come back with full health here.
It seemed there was a bit of miscommunication between Kingdom and Despair. Despair recognizing just how much damage he does. He wanted to teamfight really badly, but I think the rest of his team was probably leaning more towards Gold Fury, the better objective.
Well, we didn't mention Cameron there at all, because I don't think I really saw Cameron in that engagement at all. I didn't see a supernova go down or anything. Hebo got a very good rotation off, to be fair to Despair, even though he died there. That rotation round the back at the speed buff, I came out of nowhere. I didn't even see him coming myself.
No, it was just a great overall playing off of your front line. It was a great dunk from the Thor, which set up a Habwa ultimate. Everyone from Los Amigos was really poked out, but we had the teleport from Dr. L coming back into mid lane.
This was a little bit late from Kingdom to recognize his Gold Fury was going down, and it does actually go the way of the Amigos for the second time this game.
No, Thor wall is blocking out Rippin holes. He had nowhere to go. He got denied by his own teammates.
Supernova forced there out of Despair to make sure they secure that one for their team. Sorry, Despair from Cameron, I should say. 6-4 is the scoreline. Amigos continue to extend the golden experience lead.
There's very few abilities that hinders your own teammates, and Thorwall is one of those abilities that are hit or miss, unfortunately, for the Athena. Just nowhere to go immediately after. Tried to find the taunt to set up the Vulcan ultimate, just a little bit mistimed. Truancii not quite in position to find it. Los Amigos capitalizing with a free gold.
I think it should be law, right? That every single person that has a wall like Thor or Ymir, they have to buy Phantom. Going forward, because Phantom gets changed next patch, right, where you can get your teammates through it. If you pick a wall, right, you have to have a Phantom just to keep your teammates alive in case you mess it up. I think that's law.
Or you just don't mess it up at all to begin with.
That's a lot more difficult than you think.
Well,
you always have
you're playing at the SCL. You better have the perfect walls.
Well, he did then for a second, but then it got turned on him anyway. 6-4, 20 minutes in. It started off very slow pace, this one, totally. The fights have been very back and forth. No one really getting an advantage from that, other than Amigos, who keep sneaking these Gold Furies.
And I'm still not worried for Kingdom, despite them being down 4,000 gold. One good knockup from Truancii or Despair off of the taunt from Rippin holes, and that whoever that target's going to be is probably going to die.
It's surprising because Los Amigos, we said that their engages kind of like Los, are all relying really on the Fafnir. And so Kingdom Esports, well, they're aggressive and counter initiating a little bit more often than Amigos, but Amigos seem to be coming out on top.
Very aggressive positioning is Dr. L, trying to proxy wave it without the Gold Fury being up. Could easily get collapsed on, but a great zoning from the rest of his team. They're waiting for the rotation to catch anybody out of position.
But they lose on the mid lane as well. I like what Sol has now rotated over as well, just to make sure that wave is farmed out and Kingdom don't get re-pressure back in the mid lane, forcing everyone back. But they don't find a pick.
Just great positioning, I would say, from Los Amigos.
Coming around the corner, gonna meet Thor there, but jukes out some of the damage. Just gets slowed a little bit. His mid lane, the hammer, just off the mark from Fafnir.
Soul making the rotation, Habwa right around the corner. I think that's spotted out here. Some pot shots from the Soul on the left-hand side. Not really wanting to commit onto this tier 1 tower. It is very difficult. You have to rely on your Fafnir.
Torn onto 3 targets, grouping up. Purification forced on Raijin and the Thunder crash away. Osiris to the backline though, and the drums of war sounded by Michael, but he's just a little bit too far away to really do any damage with that. And Thor comes in and deals some good damage back.
And Nico diving the backline, forcing out the Raijin very low. Sprint is popped. He's trying to survive as long as possible. The knockup from Habwa doesn't connect.
And the damage coming out as well from that taunt is great. Osiris still on the front side now. Hebo isolated, being chased down. His team trying to support him, slow him down. So Soul's there to make sure they try and poke them back out as well.
Athena very low though. Doesn't really want to commit with the dash taunt. Habwa comes back into the team fight from the right-hand side. Thor can set up the Habwa though, but Cameron getting knocked up.
And now being forced away. Has disapparated though, so they're not going to continue to give chase. The fight is a wash so far. No team really getting an advantage.
Not at all. Very close to death was Michael Checo, but it was a nice sprint to allow him the distance that he needed, as well as a missed knockup from Despair.
I think we get to the stage of the game, Tony, that these team fights is so like even in terms of that one person falls in a team fight, and I think that team will just get a massive advantage, and probably Dia side.
Absolutely. With Rippin holes being healthy now, going to be able to set up a lot, but a great zoning from Dr. L. Force the purification from Despair. Still diving to tier 2.
But Lord of the Afterlife in deep for the Hebo at the backside, still looking for it now, surrounded by 4, looking for the kill, will clean it up and get out. Meanwhile, Ratatoskr now looking towards Thor, can't get in range in time. LayersOfDeath under pressure, his team take the tier 1, and they march on a little bit for a second, but I think the call is to definitely get out with their front line being so low.
Like you mentioned, Los Amigos are very low. Have to respect the damage from Habwa. From Vulcan. Great dive overall from Dr. L onto the Habwa into the tier 2. Was almost about to die there, but found a great second ability as he was fading away.
The fadeaway shot was hot as well. But this is the big thing about Amigos here compared to Kingdom this game. They win a fight and immediately they look for objectives. During the fight they get tier 1, they take red buff and then realize, hang on a second, we have enough members healthy enough to be able to just take that tier 1 on the left. It was low enough, so we get an objective lead even further.
The one advantage that Los Amigos has over Kingdom for sure is definitely their ability to push out these towers. Dr. L gonna get stunned out, double tap connecting, doesn't have his ultimate to escape off of the taunt. Great pick from Kingdom.
Bit of a mistake from Dr. there. He should not have been where he was. I mean, he was too low health to really hang around. I just don't think he expected so many members of Kingdom to be on this right-hand side of the map.
Especially with his ultimate that just came up now and nowhere for him to go. His meditation was available, but he didn't really want to use it. He recognized that there was no possible escape.
Well, at the same time, I think he got taunted, so we couldn't get it off after he got taunted. But here is the aggression to Fire Giant by Kingdom here. Disapparate has been used by Cameron, so he will be able to skirt away for now. But Rat's back in it, as is Fafnir now, looking for some extra damage onto the Vulcan, forcing the Sanctuary out.
A nice taunt onto Layers, but Supernova are going to zone out the rest of Kingdom. In the backhand side is Fafnir zoning. Very low is the Niqued having to jump away.
Opportunity there for the ultimate coming out from Michael to really get a taunt off, but not going to find it. Vulcan answers back though. They do trade 1 for 1. Obviously with Dr. still being down, they pick up at Despair again.
And without the Habwa, it's going to be very difficult for Kingdom to get in position, but the Thor alone will find a lot of damage with the stun hammer. And that's exactly why that Los Amigos are respecting this. Just going to go for the tier 1 tower instead of Fire Giant. It's still a little too early.
Oh, Thor dunking down because Niqued's teleported back in. They didn't recognize it in time. Taunt hits 2 as well, but still nobody dies on the side of Amigos. Amigos are really good here in terms of their ability to stay alive in these engagements.
Just a great job of disengaging, utilizing their relics perfectly. They don't necessarily have to always use their purification off of the taunt if there's nobody in position to follow up off of the taunt. So disengaging, not even committing to the tier 1 tower.
It's just a slow bleed out here in favor of Los Amigos, just because when the fights wash for them, they don't lose anything, it seems. Every time Kingdom seems to win an engagement, they don't lose anything, Los Amigos. Los Amigos, though, when they win a fight, they actually get objectives off it.
That's true. There's only 1 tower down from Los Amigos, and Goldfears have been going the way of Los Amigos as well, establishing a pretty comfortable lead for 6,000, but like I keep having to reference the fact that this Habwa Vulcan is so scary in the late game.
Of course it is. I mean, one knock-up into another knock-up, into a taunt. I mean, one of those is going to get purification. You're going to have a bad time too, and it's very hard to, you know, adjust to using a purification before the knock-up connects.
26 minutes into the game. Game is slowing down a little bit, but Goldfear has respawned. Both teams are positioning around there with some sentry wards. Looks like Soul's going to be able to counter it out, and Kingdom, they're going to have to respond.
They will for now. I mean, they grouped up in the mid lane, but because they can see the Rat and Raijin under the tier 1 tower there, they know the Gold Fury is not being looked at just yet. As on the right-hand side, you can still see Doctor on the Osiris continuing to farm up on the right side. We do get a quick pause coming out here from the two teams as well, as they've got to adjust themselves. At 26 minutes in, 8-5 gold lead, around 6,000.
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, Kingdom, they're very patient. They don't have to force the issue. They're just going to ward around. They're going to wait off of this Athena dash taunt to set up their two hyper carry late game mages. Jumpahhh's doing a great job as well as providing the space control with his wall. He needs to be a little bit more on point because around that fire giant pit, he almost caught the Soul with a nice wall. It unfortunately just caught her on the wrong side of it.
Well, you mentioned Soul. I mean, she's working towards that Ratatoskr now, which will be a power spike. Same can be said as well for Despair on the Habois. The build is near enough completed in terms of getting that raw damage online. And a little bit more tankiness from the Warlock Sash has really helped him out.
I like the idea behind going the Warlock Sash. Nice purification forced out of the Vulcan. And with that, Fafnir is still looking to play aggressive. Going to run into 3 members. Could get taunted here.
But they're waiting around the corner. As you can see, Athena was there, and Kenshin going to zone people out and force Kingdom back. Kingdom being very respectful here, trying to make sure they look after Truancii, who has that Vulcan ult available. He may just throw it over the wall, you know.
It might have been too much respect, giving up control, but the reset from the gold here, Los Amigos wants to fight.
They clearly do, because they're pushing forward with Osiris now being in here too, but they can't draw out Kingdom just yet. The Vulcan ultimate is fired, forcing a bit of a reset out of the Gold Fury. Rat still holds on to it though, but it did take the Vulcan ultimate damage. There's one ultimate already down.
That was a great space zoning out from the Vulcan ultimate, but Dr. L in the backline taking a lot of poke. We have the ultimate from the Raijin doing a decent amount. Rat's in the air waiting to dunk.
And Hebo still gets out after using the ultimate too. Thor in the backline gets a good spin to win offline, but still being focused on by Osiris. Everybody's still alive for now, and they're going to disengage one more time.
It doesn't look like the Vulcan and Habois are connecting off of these knockups. The taunt was there, but the meatball and the knockup from Habois were down. Gold going in the favor of Los Amigos.
Because Kingdom's still focused on the fight, and they're looking to poke out. Their damage dealers are a little bit too low to really commit too far forward. So Amigos now looking to disengage themselves after getting the victory of the Gold Fury.
It just didn't seem that there was synergy between the taunts and the knockups. There was opportunities there, just weren't executed efficiently enough. The Vulcan ultimate was too early in the Gold Fury. Great disengage from Los Amigos, just spreading it out. And now there's going to be another taunt in the middle.
It's going to catch 3 in a big mix-up there overall, but nobody really getting punished. Say not getting punished, but still Ravana back in the backline on his own now, isolated and alone. The rest of his team can't get to him, and he's running the wrong way in the jungle to try and escape this one. He's just trying to buy time for his team.
He wants to allow his team to get this tier 1 tower, but they're not on the same page because there's 3 defending it. Thor had to back. He was a little too low. He didn't have his ultimate either. It just doesn't seem Kingdom are on the same page right now.
And you mentioned, you know, the 3 that defended the tower, they realized they could pick up Ravana with just 2, defend the tier 1 tower at the same time, so they just get a free pick off that engagement, where it was Kingdom that were looking to answer back from the Gold Fury.
Great mindset from Los Amigos, not overcommitting on the Ravana chase. Cameron trying to get this right-hand tower, but he's going to get collapsed on. A lot of damage from the double tap.
First real mistake I've seen in this game, where he just overcommitted on his own, really. Rat's going to have to come in and help save the day a little bit, but with that disapparate down, goodbye, Cameron. You will be missed.
Yeah, that's going to be 1 kill that was so desperately needed for Kingdom. And with that, they could still force the issue. There's some towers that they could potentially look for. Tier 1 in mid, could even go for tier 2 on right. This respawn from Cameron, it's going to be 45 more seconds.
45 seconds indeed, and everybody on the side of Los Amigos is around the fire giant area now, but Rat returning to base shows that they may not be trying to force a fire giant on either side here.
This is a mistake by Kingdom. They have to be forcing something in a 5v4 in the late game. You have Habois, Vulcan, Athena, Thor, such great damage and crowd control combinations. And you also have Niqued on the Ravana that can dive the backline and keep the enemy distracted.
And honestly, in fairness here, Jumpahhhh on the Thor, he's had the best game so far in Kingdom. 5-1-1 involved in every single kill.
Dr. L was able to just sneak that tier 1 tower on the right-hand side, being down 1 member. This is not something that you usually see when you're down a member, but you still get a tower. Kingdom, they're just not in position to defend any objectives or secure any of their own.
Yeah, and unable to even punish him for doing that on the right-hand side either. He gets away scot-free. And so with the respawn of Sol now coming back in, highest player damage in the game on the side of Los Amigos and everybody else as well. There is a big gap in player damage, though. You can see Sol's at the top and then 3 members of Kingdom. But that damage from Kingdom is being absorbed very well.
Dr. L taking a little bit of poke. Rippin holes looking for a taunt. Ratatoskr right in front of him. Could potentially look for it, but electing to counter ward instead.
Just focusing on counter warding, and meanwhile Amigos going to split push mid here, looking at a tier 2. They've got Osiris to defend the fire giant, just keep their eyes busy on what's going on from them, and they may be able to catch Kingdom out of position and take the tier 2, but they've got to be careful themselves of being wrapped around on from behind.
Rippin holes with a nice double taunt. Vulcan ultimate going to hit on 3.
Great ultimate and good disengage from Amigos for now. Running through the exit way. Thunder Crash, though, coming out there from Michael to try and slow him down, but Michael will be focused out. The rest of his team left by getting hit by their ult. Hebo isolated and walked straight into where Sol was hanging around the corner. Good engagement for Kingdom Esports this, though, but Los Amigos are answering back.
So far, it's a 1-for-1 exchange. Jumpahhh being saved by the Athena taunt. Nice knock-up as well. The wall comes out. Turret as well. Osiris in the afterlife jumping onto Jumpahhh, but he's going to hammer away.
Yeah, going to hammer away and just get trapped with Athena. Meanwhile, Fafnir just dealing with Ravana. There's no real kill going to happen between those two, I can guarantee you that much. Osiris on the other end, though, could still be in a lot of trouble.
A lot of escapes between this Ratatoskr, but a nice escape as well from this Osiris, trying to buy a lot of time. Nice stun from Kenshin, but not really much follow-up damage. Cameron trying to do something on the back.
Thor still trying to help out with his walls, even though he's low, but looks like the call from Kingdom here is disengaged. They're worried about getting him poked out, especially with the Rat now on his way back as well.
Great disengage from LayersOfDeath. He escaped with about 10% health, as well as Jumpahhh escaping with about the same amount.
Yeah.
So both junglers being very wiggly.
Now Truancii as well on that Vulcan initiated that fight after the Athena taunt. I love the fact that he fired it very, very early, even before the taunt landed. And if you fire it from max distance as well, if you do it from the right angles, it's very difficult to hear the sound of it firing, and you can really set up because of the cast time being a bit lower these days.
It's through the wall, so it's going to be very difficult, like you mentioned, to see it, especially when you're facing the north side, the tier 2 tower. If the ultimate comes from behind you, you're not going to see it coming over the wall.
Especially you live off sound in this game as well. Sound's so very important. If you can't hear it, you don't know it's coming till it's too late.
Absolutely. So great job from the dash taunt into the Vulcan ultimate.
Sol out of position, bursted heavily, deleted off the map in a matter of seconds.
That's what I was talking about right there. That late game setup off of the Athena taunt. Just like that, Kingdom finding a quick and easy kill, but they have to do something with this. There's 50 seconds on Cameron to come back in the game.
Well, they're grouped up in mid lane at the moment. At least 3 of them are. 2 on the right hand side in the fire giant area. No buffs for them to really look to steal away for now. Speed buff already dropped. There is a blue in the back, but they're looking for the tier 1 tower in mid, and Jumpahhh coming around the back should help to zone him away with Athena with a good taunt into a Vulcan ultimate. Double tap, spins a win. Jumpahhh not going to find anything. Gets hammered on the tower, forced to purify away. They're focused on fighting here, Kingdom, and they're not looking at the tower just yet.
The issue is that they don't really have that much tower shredding gods in this game. Only one is Cameron really on the side of Los Amigos. Kingdom, they have a lot of player damage, but not that much tower.
And still in the back line there, the taunt connects one more time. A lot of focus onto Osiris as Thor does get to the back and take out Michael. Another damage around. Kingdom looking great here all of a sudden. The damage is starting to come through, but the Rat is back.
And doesn't matter though, because there's all 5 members of Kingdom Esports still up and alive. Fafnir has to be a little careful because one taunt will spill his doom. Tier 1 and Tier 2 in the mid falls for Kingdom. They were down 10,000 gold, and off of that one kill, bring it back to 6,000 deficit.
They just started to realize objectives all of a sudden, like focus, group up, make something happen from this, and then with the extra damage from being in the late game scenario, these mages are starting to really chunk people down here.
That's what you have to do. Just play off of your Guardians, look for those initiations. Stellar Burst and Supernova coming out. Gonna force out the reset. Jumpahhh very low, but still fighting. LayersOfDeath force to use Sanctuary.
Good Sanctuary, but he's trying to get escape as well, and will dash to the left-hand side to buy his team time. Niqued keeping him busy at the back on the Ravana, though. He's getting chunked a little bit. That Stellar Burst will slow, but a good ultimate over the wall. Walks into a Rat, though. They're still alive, but the burst from Hebo is there.
It's all about the knock-up, not able to really escape with the dash away. Ratatoskr gonna fall down, and yet again, Kingdom with a 1-player advantage, but they're giving up the control of the Gold Fear. CaMeRxN here has a lot of damage, so that's why Rippin holds is just gonna spot around the corner.
34 minutes in this game now. It's a bit of a back and forth, but gold lead is still in Amigos' favor. Experience, though, not going to matter at all. All teams really level 20. Only difference is Michael in the mid lane on that Raijin. It's a little bit behind in terms of experience.
This is where one little misstep is going to spill the devastation of one team. On the side of Kingdom Esports, we understand their idea and their mindset, but on the side of Los Amigos, they don't have the same burst damage. Michael Checo, he is level 18. He doesn't have Ratatoskr quite finished yet. He has the Bancroft sound, but on the side of Cameron, that's your damage dealer right now.
A little bit surprised we didn't see some magical resistance coming out, especially from the 2 junglers here. A little bit more from both of them because they knew they were against, you know, double mage in the Hunter role, double mage in the mid lane. So a lot of opportunity for magical damage that you could be absorbed.
A lot of Bulwarks of Hope having to be picked up here on the side of Niqued. He's going to be able to dive that backline very efficiently, as well as the Athena setting up this Habwa and Vulcan. And Los Amigos, they cannot allow themselves to get picked off like that. They have to bait out Dr. L and Kenshin just a little bit bit harder.
Well, the Fire Giant being looked at by Kingdom here, just mainly setting up around the area, especially with Athena not being with him for the time being. And Los Amigos just starting to push out the lanes a little bit. Good meatball on the mark. And you can see how much that just chunked onto the Osiris there already from one meatball. There's a taunt. Going to find one.
It's going to be on Kenshin, but not much follow-up damage. They don't want to commit those abilities onto such a tanky target. Rat's in the air. Osiris ultimate was used again. Nice double knockup. Hebo's in trouble before his ultimate.
He just falls back to the Fire Giant, and he gets aggro from the Fire Giant too, so Hebo's definitely dead there. Just get a knock up on 2 as LayersOfDeath gets credit for the kill. Meanwhile, Thor is now in the sky. Osiris dealing with 2. Doesn't get dunked on at all by Thor because Thor's looking at the back for the Rat. The Rat, though, is going to actually chase the Thor down.
Great disengage. Thor just buying time. He had 3 targets on himself, allowing the rest of his backline to survive it and being able to wall away. Now Dr. L still looking to play aggressive. Fire Giant still aggro. Kenshin going to jump in. Nice double taunt, but not that much damage. The Habwa is dead. It's only up to Vulcan.
Osiris looking at Vulcan, gets knocked up. Meanwhile, at the back of that, you can see the Rat does pick one up. Sol is with him, though, and the combination of Los Amigos team now are just starting to communicate a little bit better and find the clean-up kills and shred Kingdom Esports apart. This could be a Fire Giant.
This should be a Fire Giant with 4 members up alive for Los Amigos, but they're looking for the Phoenix?
With no minions here, this could be a little bit risky. I mean, Niqued here, he has decent enough health to try and defend, but he's not going to head back there in time. They will get the Phoenix for free. They're relying a lot on Osiris' rod.
They're going to end?
No.
They're going to end.
Can they end?
I don't think so, but they're going to certainly try. The Titan taking a little bit of poke. It is very resilient. There is 2 tier 2 towers still remaining. Titan at half health, but the respawn comes out and Despair finding LayersOfDeath.
No. Well, they're still trying to go for it. He's at 25% right now. Hebo gets 2 kills here, looking for the 3rd with the support of Niqued as well. Niqued gets 1, so that's 1 kill for him. The wipe happens, triple kill for Despair. Mistakes were made.
Oh my goodness, finding the Chaos Titan at 32%. The reset did happen, so it's probably around 10% health or so. Very calculated, but they didn't respect the respawn from Despair. The damage from a level 20 Habwa. How can you not respect that damage?
I mean, I could deal with it. If Athena was the one next up, yeah, I'd still go for it. I can see them make that call there, because Athena's only going to really taunt, not too much damage. But a Hebo? A late game Hebo who's full build?
Not
You're
at all.
going to have a bad time.
He died early on in the fight. He was getting really focus fired by the Ratatoskr and the Osiris, which was a great initiation from Los Amigos, getting this late game Hebo out of the team fight. But they could have went for the more safer play. I like the Phoenix call. Like, it made sense. You know, you have 4 members, late game form. Your soul shreds these towers and Phoenixes anyway. But going for the Titan, there was 2 tier 2 towers up, which makes your Titan, you know, more resilient as well.
We've got an awkward situation, though, when I look at the map, because you can see how low that Titan actually is. So Kingdom have to be very respectful of a potential backdoor, especially because, well, the only one I can see that could really make a backdoor here is Rat.
Absolutely.
The Ratatoskr could dunk it on his own and try and go for the win, but it's not that easy. I don't think he's going to have the raw damage to tank it up that much.
Not with 2 towers up and 2 Phoenixes on the side lanes. I would say if all 3 Phoenixes were down, and the Titan was at the same amount of health, then yes, late game Ratatoskr form with a red pot would be able to take it down. So you would have to respect that, find the wards. And either way, we see a lot of wards coming from Kingdom because of the backdoor threat that you mentioned.
Yeah, it's wise to make sure you ward it up like a Christmas tree. Just make sure you got lights everywhere on your map. But this looks like what Amigos trying to do potentially here. They're looking around the Gold Fury. They're a bit deep on this left-hand side. And Kingdom, they're respecting the fact they've got to defend this Titan.
Yeah, well, despite having the Fire Giant, the better objective is to defend your own Titan, because otherwise you can't push out the enemy Titan.
Wouldn't mind seeing Amigos go to the left or right here and just backdoor a tier 2 tower just to lower the Titan's defense a little bit more when they actually do look for the siege up. Kingdom, though, with Fire Giant online, you've got to remember that. That's extra damage for all these players.
The issue is that I don't think Los Amigos can win this team fight with Fire Giant onto Kingdom. One taunt.
One taunt. There's the taunt as well. LayersOfDeath forced it all, but already dropped below 75% health at the moment as Michael is. But Rat's going to the backdoor option. Vulcan hits and connects. Osiris goes in next. They're going in like lemmings, but are the lemmings going to be good enough to find the win? 8%, 2%. Los Amigos with the backdoor. Risky.
It was all a bait. It was all a bait from Osiris and Ratatoskr. Great play overall.
That's
just
risky,
diving the backline. I love the risk because you had Osiris tank the Titan. Ratatoskr was able to dunk down with about 75% health. And then everyone's attention was on the Osiris and Ratatoskr. Sol was able to make the rotation at the end, walk in, use Supernova, connect completely on that Titan.
Well, so far, Amigos get 1 point from that first game, but obviously it's a best of 2 set between these two, so if Kingdom can find an answer here, they'll both get 1 point after the first game of today. Obviously, you want to get as many points as you can to get yourself through. There is 2 spots up for grabs out of these 3 teams. Only one of them will go home.
And the magic number is 4. If you find 1 win and 1 split, you're going to secure yourself with 4 points. You're not going to be able to really get knocked out from there on on out.
So what do you want to see different in this game then? Because we saw both teams like Kingdom pick the Hebo. It seemed to work in some aspects, not others.
It just seemed that every time they found a pick on the side of Kingdom, they didn't utilize their player advantage. You know, we saw Cameron dead 2 different occasions, 45 and 50-second respawn timers on both. They didn't go for Fire Giant. They didn't go for Tier 2 towers. And there was another instance that you mentioned around that solo lane side when there was a small 3-on-3 skirmish around level 12 mark. You mentioned their speed and the blue were up, and Kingdom neglected to go for it.
Well, maybe